Qué lejos estoy del suelo donde he nacido.
Hello, this is Laura Tillman from Sustainable Harvest in Oaxaca, Mexico. My colleagues and I work with counterculture and coffee farmers to develop sustainable business relationships, supplying high-quality coffees to counterculture and its customers. One of the Mexican farmer associations from whom counterculture buys washed Arabica coffee is the 21st of September cooperative. Nearly 1,000 coffee farmers from the Mixteca region of western Oaxaca state belong to the cooperative. Peter Giuliani and Kim Bullock from Counterculture have visited the farmers several times in the last 2 years, most recently in January. When Kim visited in January, she recognized the need to support women farmers in the co-op. As a result, Counterculture decided to give the $6,000 raised through its holiday coffee sales to support projects for these women farmers. Then fast forward to mid-March. The Mexican coffee harvest was finished, and the 21st of September cooperative could devote the time to organize a formal women's group within their co-op. The goal was to increase the participation of women in the cooperative, as well as to establish a structure to manage projects and training, especially serving women farmers. My colleague Chabela and I decided to attend the meeting convened in order to organize the women's group. So we set out 5 hours up the narrow, windy mountain roads from Oaxaca City to the Mixteca indigenous community of Malpica. As Chabela and I drove towards Malpica, we wondered how many women would attend. Would they participate? How could we best support this nascent women's organization in a region where women are notoriously marginalized? Chabela and I were armed with a presentation for the women about sustainable harvests collaboration with women's organizations in other coffee communities. And we also had 2 other tools to offer, thanks to the direct relationships the 21st of September cooperative has developed with Counterculture and another roaster called Allegro. First, there was the $6,000 donation from Counterculture, which would give the women a great financial start to the projects they wanted to carry out. And then Allegro had bought 1 lot of coffee produced only by the 400 women farmers of the cooperative, and the coffee carried a price premium for its high quality. When we arrived in Malpica, the women were gathering at the co-op's warehouse, recording their names and the community they represented with the event organizers. Old women, young women, and middle-aged women sat down in blue and yellow plastic chairs. Their children played at their feet. Just as the meeting was scheduled to begin, the electricity failed, and the women waited patiently while a generator was set up, gas was fetched to power the generator, and then finally the day's event began. By this time, about 50 women and 10 men filled the room. The day began with speeches from men. The co-op president Gervasio and representatives from Foam Cafe, a local non-profit that helped host the event, urged the women to use this day to organize themselves and decide on a vision for their group. The morning continued with presentations from 2 women, invited guests from a nonprofit organization in Veracruz. They talked about community savings groups and facilitated a lively discussion on gender, as they talked about how girls and boys are educated to become men and women, wearing sombreros and using machetes or making tortillas and washing clothes. The women giggled and whispered to one another as they recognized themselves in the descriptions. About 1 in the afternoon, Chabela took the microphone for her first public presentation ever. She began by introducing herself.
Hola, soy Isabel, trabajo con Sustainable Harvest. Yo vengo de
My name is Chabela, and I am from a small Oaxacan pueblo, much like this one. I came to Oaxaca City when I was 12 to attend high school. About 5 years ago, I began working with Sustainable Harvest, and today I find myself standing in front of you, the women of the 21st of September, to support your new women's organization. For these Mixteca women, many of whom are too timid even to express their opinions, Chabela's presence in the front of the room pulled them forward to the edge of their seats. They concentrated on Chabela to hear what this petite indigenous woman, like them, had to say. She shared the experience of the Nicaraguan women behind Las Hermanas Coffee, who have succeeded in commercializing 5 lots of women-produced coffee this year. She explained how these women's economic entree into the life of the cooperative had opened space for their participation in broader decision-making at the co-op, in their communities, and in their own homes. As the women concentrated on Chabella's words, she explained the opportunity for them to become more involved in organizing their own lot of coffee, following the model of Las Hermanas in Nicaragua. This year, the 21st of September has one contract for a container of coffee from the women producers, but the initiative has been directed by the men on the co-op board. Chabela also told the women about the counterculture donation. She explained how counterculture's customers had raised these funds, and now it was the women's responsibility to prioritize how they wanted to use that money. One woman from each community stood, in turn, and voiced the highest priority need for her projects in her community. Training for raising chickens or pigs, and tools to grow mushrooms for the local market were a few examples. The women compiled a list of these projects, which they will use to decide how to delegate the $6,000 donation. During lunch, we ate chicken and tortillas together and danced to music played by an elderly accordion-playing DJ. Throughout the rest of the afternoon, the women democratically elected a president, secretary, and treasurer to lead their group. When the meeting continued, the women voted on how often they will meet and how much each woman will contribute to the group in dues. As the day's events drew to a close and the women began the trip back to their respective communities, Chabela and I talked with the newly elected president of the women's group, Esperanza López López, from the community of San Jose El Porvenir. Esperanza spoke quietly, but determination shined through in her voice as she reflected on her new position as president of the women's group of the 21st of September cooperative.
Bueno, pues fue algo inesperable, ¿no? O sea, yo no había pensado en que esto.
I wasn't expecting this at all, she said, but I have always been proud to participate, and I will start working hard for this group. We have a long way to go, and I haven't left my community very often, but we will do all we can for the well-being of the women and the cooperative. I hope I can count on support from you all, and from each of the women here today. I don't doubt it.
Hanina